1st August Commission of Inquiry chaired by former President Kalime. I had expected the commission to be a fuss, complete waste of time. Was wrong. Yes, the commission has been a complete waste of time and resources, but a waste of hope. It turned out to be a very effective President Mugabe was very pleased. It is all very well to hear former Zanu PF that Jim Naka, for example, confirmed that last November's military was indeed a coup d'etat and why it was necessary. A coup was held in because the old guard had been outwitted by him. They had to use guns because they had been completely outwitted. I know everything about Zanu. Culture of violence. Member, senior member. It was comical to hear Naka being denounced in turn by his former comrade, Louis Mututu. Jim Naka has conceded perpetrating violence against opposition and killing people against live on television for the commission. All this was done. It is the duty of the law enforcement to apprehend him and charged under the law. He should not be allowed to get away with this. If he was given instruction, he alleges, he must name those who gave him such orders, if they do exist. Let him name those that were working with him. He just complicated his life because Moshairo primed him. He must be held. That is just it. Naka can name those who gave him the instructions to kill, just as the individuals responsible for the shooting of the 7 civilians behind this commission may be named. What difference will that make? In the 38 years of Zanu PF, 30,000 have been murdered in cold blood, established and maintained the de facto one-party dictatorship we are owning. In 99% of the cases, the murderers were never arrested, even when many people had named. In the old case, where the criminals were arrested, tried and convicted, they were granted the ubiquitous presidential pardon. Zanu PF thugs only, of course, without ever spending a single night behind bars. Indeed, we can go so far as to say this commission of inquiry's primary purpose is to divert the nation's attention from President Mugabe and his junta's treasonous act of rigging the 30th July 2022, the disastrous consequences, worsening economy that followed, and full marks to the commissioners. They've played their assigned roles with flying colors. Zanu PF thugs have carte blanche powers to do whatever they consider necessary to secure their own and the party's stranglehold in power. Last November's coup was high treason. The regime got Justice George Chiweshe to rule it was legal, constitutional, and justified. The junta has just successfully, blatantly rigged the elections with the assistance of the corrupted SEC. The whole electoral process was flawed and illegal. The regime even failed to produce something as basic as a verified control. The election results were challenged in the Constitutional Court. The judges ignored all the evidence put before the court, proving beyond doubt that the elections were rigged because the evidence, I quote, was not corroborated by primary evidence in the sealed ballot boxes, they argue. The plaintiffs' request to have the ballot boxes open was denied, and the judges themselves never asked to have the boxes opened. So the judge's decision to endorse Mnangagwa as the winner were based on the assumption that the primary evidence in the sealed ballot boxes would have proven the elections were not rigged. Of course, it was a nonsensical judgment. What was the point of asking the parties to this case to submit sworn affidavits if the judges were going to ignore that evidence and then conveniently ignore the opportunity to examine the primary evidence, the primary source evidence they are insisting on? The primary purpose of the Constitutional Court in the above case was to help Zanu PF junta gloss over the glaring irregularities and illegitimate illegalities, and the judge rigged the elections, and the judges and judge the elections free, fair, and credible. Of course, the regime knew that it had rigged the elections, and many people would be furious about it. The regime, whose murderous thugs had clearly strained at the leash to keep the peace throughout the campaign period, were unleashed at the protesters. The shooting dead of 7 civilians was meant to remind all that the party would not tolerate any protest against the regime. The Commission, just like the ZEC, the Constitutional Court, etc., is a toothless dog with neither the bark nor bite. It is not the Commission It is not for the Commission to name the individuals who pulled the trigger, much less those who deployed them and gave the order of shoot to kill. It is not in the Commission's limit. But even if the Commission named every one of those involved here, we can be certain of one thing: this will do nothing to help restore the individual freedoms and human rights, much less put right the immediate problem of the rigged elections. Indeed, it is now clear that the Commission of Inquiry was a cynical decoy to take attention away from the serious issue of the rigged elections and the economic meltdown that followed. Last year, the regime organized the 18th November 2017 street protest, a carefully stage-managed theatrical to allow the public to let out some steam, and it worked. This commission is yet another carefully stage-managed performance that has too worked like a charm. The 7 short dead must be turning in their graves, joining the apathetic thousands committed by the regime, who are spinning by now, angry at the opportunity the shooting presented to demand meaningful democratic change is clearly requested.